Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today I'm going to be giving my first impressions on Last Epoch's endgame content. As you may know, I fell out with Diablo 4 because the endgame content was very grindy, wasn't so much fun, dungeons felt all the same, the nightmare dungeons didn't do much to help alleviate that problem. So does Last Epoch do it better? Let's get into it. Starting off with the factions, yes, partway near the end of the game, very near the end of the game, you can choose a faction. I've chose Circle of Fortune, which basically means I get rarer drops. There is another faction where you're actually able to trade with people. You can leave the faction at any time, but as you stay in the faction, you level up and you get better rewards. For example, 35% chance of dropping twice as many items, 45% chance of getting more ruins, 25% chance of getting more idols, affixes is more likely to be exalted, so on and so forth. With this system, you also get favors, and you can come over here, and essentially you can do some side quests to pay favors to get certain things. For example, I can pay 900 points, 900 favors to get guaranteed 10 rare rings. All I need to do is death of a rare enemy, and the condition is I can only do it in a lightless arbor. There's some other ones where I'm able to do it anywhere. Some of them are in monoliths as well, and it just depends on what you want. Like if I want some legendary jewelry, I need to defeat rare enemies in any dungeon tier 4. I can also re-roll, and there's lots of different ones. This one, for example, is all about weapons, and then there's another one that's all about armor, so on and so forth. So that's part of the game. And finally, the main bulk of this game, endgame content, is the monolith system. Monoliths act like mini dungeons where affixes apply to both the enemies and the player. For example, enemies might have more damage, player might get better rewards, and the further and further you go away from the center of these monoliths, the more and more damage, or the harder and harder the dungeon is. And now, in order to complete the dungeons, there's different requirements. Some may require you to kill a certain amount of enemies. There's one where it's kill enough enemies in this wave-based thing, where more and more enemies appear. Some of them are just kill like 3 major bosses. Some of them where if, like in Diablo, you might get lightning striked affix, where there's like lightning will spawn on you every so often. You need to hide in a shield, or there's like poison might spawn, blood spatter might attack you or something. In Last Epoch, that can happen as well, but lightning strikes will appear on the ground before they're going to hit you, so you're able to dodge them. You don't need to hide in a shield. And also, part of that dungeon's mission, in order to complete it, may just be destroy the things that are generating these lightnings. So that's a lot of fun. There's also a bonus reward, which is mainly just kill a certain amount of enemies. This number is random. I'm not sure what the requirement is, because it says kill like 32, slay 32. But that doesn't mean slay 32 enemies. It could be slay 32 elite enemies, maybe a group of enemies. I don't know, but you get bonus rewards for doing that. Obviously, each dungeon has a reward system, so if I click on one, it might be show me a key. That means that dungeon's going to drop me keys. If it's a ring, obviously it can drop me rings, amulets, idols, whatever. The worst one is the XP one, because let's face it, I'm on hardcore, so my XP is already going to be increased, and a lot of the time the XP gained from these bonus EXP things isn't that great. A lot of the dungeons will just give you a bonus EXP multiplier anyway, which massively helps, and obviously there's shrines in there as well that also drop EXP. But overall, it's fun. You just go across. The further away you get from the center, obviously the more difficult you get. But there's this thing called stability. So as you can see here, we have stability. Obviously, the more and more of these you complete, the more and more stable the area becomes. And then you basically get these extra, these final quests. These quests usually involve kill X and enemies, and then you might have to fight a boss at the end. The first one is basically destroy these 4 generators, and then you can fight the boss. The one I should be showing you right now was basically one of the bosses inside the main campaign game. You have to fight them as a stronger version. It was a lot of fun, a lot of dodging, a lot of ducking and weaving, but it's sort of like you're not just doing the dungeons and over again. You are also fighting bosses again, and you might be fighting some of the in-game bosses, but a harder version. Obviously, as you progress through this monolith, there is a harder version, which I haven't got to yet. I've literally only completed 2 monolith sections, and so far it's fine. Obviously, it does get a bit repetitive, but it's nowhere near as repetitive, I feel, so far as the Nightmare dungeons. Mainly that's because the dungeon design in this doesn't require you to kill X things to unlock the second area, where you then have to kill X things, then you can unlock the boss of that area. This is either just kill enough enemies, or kill a certain amount of bosses, or kill 2 things and then you can leave, or you can kill X amount to get bonus rewards and then you can leave. It's most of the time you don't need to explore the whole dungeon to complete it. You can just TP out. Maybe you don't care about the bonus rewards and you're doing this so you can unlock a monolith path that's to an item that you want. Overall, first impressions, it's pretty decent so far. It's a lot of, I wouldn't say it's a lot of fun, but it's okay. It drops enough items. Plus with the faction thing, I'm getting a lot of items there, and that requires you to go off and do other stuff. There is dungeons as well, not dungeons like what I'm showing you here. Dungeons that are more, I may say something more akin to like a WoW raid or something, where you go through the specific area and this dungeon may have a gimmick. I think there's like 3 or 4 of them, and the one I did way back with another hardcore character fairly early on, I basically had to throw fire crystals at the boss to damage it. So you can do them as well, but so far the monoliths of fate is what I've been mainly focusing on, and they're fine. Get good items, get good rewards. Sometimes it's not so good. Depending on the path you want to go, you can make it either harder for yourself or easier for yourself. Overall, it's fine. Content's great. Yeah, it's just part of the ARPG endgame experience. It's not like there's like a second story to go on. It's just complete these monoliths over and over again. So far, like, the things haven't been too annoying. Like, the issue with Diablo 4 was, like, some of them slowed you down, the affixes, so you would want to avoid the ones that does lightning damage because you constantly have to run into a shield. Whereas this is, if there is something that's constantly going to be damaging you or can damage you, it usually tells you when it's appearing, so you have time to dodge out of the way, and it doesn't slow down the whole game flow. Anyway, let me know what you think about Last Epoch's endgame in the comments section down below. If you got into it, you can let me know if it gets worse or not. So far, I've had I've had fun with it. I keep on saying a lot of fun, but I had fun with it. It's okay. Not the worst I've ever experienced. So far, the fact that I can easily switch out abilities and stuff and specialize them, getting new gear has made it fun. But at this point in Diablo 4, I was still kind of having fun. I was just kind of getting sick of Nightmare dungeons. This system, I feel, is a lot better because you're able to go through like the sort of Nightmare dungeons and they're not as restrictive, having to do certain things to unlock the whole dungeon. You just go through, do all the dungeon bits and then come out. And plus with the bonus mission objectives of essentially forcing you to fight a boss is nice, and it's not just like the same boss again and again. It's one of the getter bosses inside the game storyline, and a lot of those bosses do have some fun gimmicks, especially when they get harder. Like I said, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more Last Epoch content, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.
Morse. Marvelous. Together on the track. Let's go. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, red sus. Red sus, sus.